Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The prayer today comes from a message on the observance of Christmas, December 1984, from President Ronald Reagan. Dear Lord, today we gather with our family and friends to honor Christ. We can experience the same peace and joy as the shepherds from Magi did almost 2,000 years ago. If we made that peace and joy part of our lives, our example will serve and guide us in inspiration for everyone we meet. Amen. Jerry, want to start us off?
Yes, on November 29th, I approved appropriations transfers from the sheriff to provide for a reimbursement cash transfer to the general fund and from the commissioners in their miscellaneous COBRA expense account to cover November and December payments, and a supplemental from the treasurer's office in their delinquent tax fee fund hospitalization account to cover November and December payments.
Thank you. Number 2, the Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board approve and execute the minutes for the meeting of October 13th, 2022.
So moved. Second.
Commissioner Spillier.
Aye.
Commissioner Lennon.
Yes.
Commissioner DeBoer.
Yes. The Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board approve and execute the minutes for the meeting of October 18th, 2022.
So moved. Second.
Commissioner Spillier.
Aye.
Commissioner Lennon.
Yes.
Commissioner DeBoer.
Yes. Item number 4, the Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board approve and execute the minutes for the meeting of October 25th, 2022.
So moved. Second.
Commissioner Spillier.
Aye.
Commissioner Lennon.
Aye.
Commissioner DeBoer.
Yes. Adrian.
Do you have a number 5, Carrie, or is there not a 5 on that one?
No, it's been updated.
Okay, I'm Okay, today's financials include a supplemental from the Commissioner's Office and the operating transfers out sales tax megahertz, which would be the 800 megahertz, and capital transfer in preparation for year-end cash transfers from the general fund. Among the encumbrances are a couple of then and nows one from the engineer to Rick Weichert for Kent State tuition reimbursements, and from the municipal court to Jerry Mitchell Thorpe for court-appointed counsel fees that were not previously encumbered, and a travel from the juvenile court to attend the 2022 Ohio Police Officers Training Academy Basic Court Officers Training Program. And among the vouchers are $11,343 from the Commissioner's Office to CCAO, CEAO for the Commissioner's Office membership dues, $24,304.53 from the Commissioner's Office to Destination Jaga for the third quarter 2022 Fed tax distribution. And in the last year, we've distributed a little over $86,000 to them to promote tourism in the county.
Is that up from the normal years in the past? It sounds like it's.
Well, it is definitely up over the last 2 years.
Okay,
yes.
good.
So because of the pandemic and
Right.
stuff like that, we were doing pretty good, but there have been some larger name campgrounds that have come in and kind of bought some of the local places and are promoting them a lot more.
Okay.
So, yeah, it has.
That's good.
$223,856 from the engineer's office to Valley Ford for a single and tandem axle Freightliner 108 SD cab and chassis trucks to be outfitted as plow trucks. We'll cycle out 2 older trucks at the conclusion of the winter season. These were purchased or ordered back in April. And they had budgeted for them.
Yep. Very good.
That's it.
All right, I'll make the motion. I'll second.
Commissioner Spillier.
Aye.
Commissioner Lennon.
Yes.
Commissioner DeBoer.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
You want to stay for the next one?
Oh, I should, yeah. Okay, item number 6, the Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board approve and execute Resolution 22-194, authorizing the acceptance of payments by financial transaction devices for county expenses owed to county officials and offices in accordance with revised code 301.28. So our contract and agreement with MSB is expiring, and we are taking the opportunity to write a new resolution to bring in any other departments that want to join the commissioners for, this is for accepting credit cards by the county.
Gotcha.
So we've added quite a few departments that wanted to be part of that, and this is just the first step in getting that done, hopefully within the next 3 months. You're gonna be signing a three-month extension with MSP next week in order to carry us through until we can complete this process.
Off the top of your head, is there anybody that's not currently using or accepting credit cards?
I don't know the answer to that right off the top of my head.
Okay.
I
Just curious.
mean, community development, though.
Yeah, community development said no.
Well, they don't take something.
Most other places, though, I mean, the list is a lot longer than it was the first time.
Before, now they're all kind of catching up?
Correct, yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay. Second?
Mr. Spiller?
Aye.
Mr. Logan?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
That's that. No, that's the one that we listed, that's.
Morning, how are you?
Good.
How you doing?
Good. Good morning.
Item 7, the engineer's office is requesting the board approve and execute a new price contract with Runyon Paving Incorporated for the asphalt resurfacing of Messenger Road, County Highway 31, Section A, in Auburn Township, in the amount of $475,775.00. Bid bond submitted shall serve as the performance bond for this project. This is the final procedural step to execute those contracts and cover those funds in '22.
Great. Good.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Mr. Spiller?
Aye.
Mr. Logan?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Great.
Thank you. Item 8 is a revisit from last week. This is the 6th and final easement request for Washington Street. We got our paperwork procedurally correct, and this is engineer's office requesting the board approve and execute highway easement between Geauga County Board of Commissioners and Jehovah's Witness, Spring Falls, Ohio, parcel 02711-600 for the culvert extension and drainage improvements located at or near 8634 Washington Street, County Highway 606, Section C, Bainbridge Township, in the amount of $250.
Second?
Mr. Logan?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Thank you.
With a question, is that all the property you need, or do you need the property that's just next to it, but west, on the west side?
That one was done last week. So there were 2 easements.
Okay.
This was one of the easements that there was an issue with the paperwork. So
Okay.
we got the paperwork issue resolved. We came back today to finalize that. But the 2 easements that were there, we signed one last week. This is the second one.
Okay.
That is the end of.
Familiar with that
And
property.
it's the BAL property.
Okay.
Item number 9, this is the county engineer's office requesting the board approve and execute change order number 1 and final, decreasing the contract with Runyon Paving Incorporated for the asphalt and concrete paving at the Geauga County Engineers North and South Yards in the amount of $15,438.50. That contract was originally executed at $511,000 and came in just under $500,000, which was within our budget.
All right. So moved. Second?
Mr. Spiller?
Aye.
Mr. Logan?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Gentlemen?
Good deal. Have a good day. Appreciate it. Stay dry.
I don't know where they are.
Yeah, I didn't hear from them.
You're
I
DD?
didn't either. This is the third re-advertisement. So we went out to bid once, got no response, went out to bid a second time, got no response, so this is the request to advertise.
No response.
None.
Wow, I'm shocked. What, no response?
None. The first one, the first specs went out for bid for, to do gas. And then we got no, to run gas lines to the cabins to do winterization, so that they could use the camp year round. We got no response. So there was a conversation that took place about, instead of running gas lines, running electric, to do electric instead of gas. And so that was the specs that went out the second time, and it got no response.
Where is this, so where are we putting this out? Who are we putting this out to? Where are we
It goes
advertising?
out in the Maple Leaf and out
Oh.
through the Builders Exchange, because they pick it up and they post it.
Okay.
So it's out there, but I don't know, it's just the the scope of the project of what it is.
What is, do you, I mean, off the top of your head, do you know what the ad says, or roughly, we have it? Or we can talk about it later.
This is the, this is your specs. So that's in the video.
I mean, putting it in the,
But the building exchange that's online.
that's where they
All
go.
the contractors
Yeah,
get it.
they, I mean, they
Every day.
they
Yeah.
pull the specs.
I mean, we should jump all over it. Some counties, yeah.
Well, I think that the cost of the project might be, too, it might be, the estimate on the project is 66.6 with the grant funding that's in it, but somebody might not be, doesn't think that they might be able to do it for what the cost is. And that's probably why we're not getting fixed, but, so,
So this motion is to
So-
go back and re-advertise it then?
yes, so this would be the third time we would have it advertised.
So,
I mean, that should, if I understand CDBG's rules, that they bid out 3 times and they don't get any, then they can go search out individual companies to.
so how are you gonna put this in then this time around, where's it gonna go?
It'll probably go back in the Maple Leaf, like.
So why don't we try the News Herald instead?
Want to do News Herald instead?
I mean, it didn't work the first time, you know.
We would have to
so-
change, you could either advertise it, leave it on Thursday, or change it to Friday. Because typically when you do News Herald advertisements, it would usually go in on Friday
I mean,
instead of
it-
Thursday.
Yeah,
They've got a larger reach and it might just, you know, get somebody else to look at it.
yep.
So we-
Yeah, change it up. Try it one more time, but you said if the third strike, then they can go out and
Third strike, then they can go out and see.
seek their own. Okay, why don't we do that?
Go through the bid process.
Okay, so you want to change do you have time? Because it's not,
Yeah, I would not do the Maple Leaf and I would do the News Herald just to change it up.
okay.
And then, are we, or is
Change
that,
that motion to just say,
It would be
be
January
advertised in a
6th.
paper local.
is the probable cost of construction, is that written in stone, or is that just the amount that they're able to pull together?
That was based off of, that may be some of the problem, because that was based off of the camp's original proposal to CDBG, which would have been from a year and a half ago.
Correct.
Okay.
And you're limited on what you can do with CDBG funding because you awarded the amount towards the project.
Right.
And it's whether Home Dakota wants to add to the amount to cover the difference.
The difference,
But we haven't even seen a bid yet,
Okay.
so.
Yeah, it's a similar issue we had with Safe, where the numbers were coming in.
With the
higher.
driveways?
So, yeah, we'll cover the additional cost.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you want to just wait on this one? Let me go back, talk to Gina, and then let's take it and then go back and go from there.
It's specs on it. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, that'll be tabled.
Okay.
Item number 11.
Morning, Roger.
Morning.
Morning.
Annually, my department does all the chemical filing for the county. We write all the emergency response plans, chemical review. And so what's involved with that is just a payment from the LEC to us. This, the 10,000 has not changed in 2 years. And in the years gone by, this was actually the third person's position that we did absorb. And streamlined those costs. So looking to approve the agreement.
Makes sense.
Yep, for sure.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Spiller?
Aye.
Commissioner Levin?
Aye.
Commissioner DeBoer?
Yes.
Well,
Thank you.
Thanks. Good job. Morning.
Morning, sir. Jim, this is our service contract with Electrical for Electrical. AJ was one of the contractors for this building. So we're just getting the service contract together. Get everything just in case something happens.
So this is 2 years.
For all.
All buildings.
2 year, not to exceed all buildings.
Correct, okay.
Sounds good.
Just in case something happens.
Yeah. Second.
Commissioner Spiller?
Aye.
Commissioner Levin?
Yes.
Commissioner DeBoer?
Yes.
Thank
you.
Yeah, you too.
I don't see you Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Where are you going?
It's just a whole month. Don't see you.
We'll see you.
See you next week.
We try to hide. It's our
All right, item 13, the Transit Department is requesting board approve first amendment to Maritime Incorporated agreement as required underground DEX Energy LLC. And all remaining terms and conditions for the maintenance service for a RICO IMC 3000 copier shall remain in full force and effect.
Okay.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Spillier.
Aye.
Commissioner
Yes.
Commissioner Warren.
Yes.
Thanks for coming in.
Have a good week.
We don't see you. Merry Christmas, guys.
Where are you going?
I'm here, but if I don't see you.
And you're on the top of the next page, don't ask me.
Okay.
The next two items are with regards to the Volunteer Peace Officer Dependents Fund Board, because we have a sheriff that utilizes volunteer services. This is this board, and two of the board members are to be appointed by the commissioners to this. Traditionally, it's been the sheriff and the auditor, so that's what is being proposed.
Make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Spillier.
Aye.
Commissioner Warren.
Yes.
Commissioner Warren.
Yes.
Did you do 15 and 14 and 15 together?
We did it together.
Thank you. And now it's up to Adrian.
Don't see Adrian.
The presentation for the budget's going to be up here on the screen, so I don't know if any of you want to adjust your seating position or not, so you can see better.
I want to adjust my position so I can see better, period.
Don't go by anything, they're my ID there, Adrian.
I don't know if
There you go.
I totally agree.
Yes, because the budget, but we don't have to sign all these.
Okay.
This is the one, and then you give me this, to have you sign. So I can give it to Jerry.
Stuff on screen.
Oh. Where do you sign on this?
You are on the bottom, see where the stickies are on the bottom? Go,
Right there?
no, go back to the, see the ones that are at the bottom.
Are they on the side?
Yeah.
Down?
No, you guys are here.
Oh. Oh.
See how
and then-
there's
okay.
the top, what top sticky and bottom sticky, your review, we were off our bottom sticky, and Jim is
Okay.
top sticky, because they're on two different papers.
Oh, Jesus.
Like, sometimes.
Where
they're
Glenn
like-
goes.
like-
Where do you
It's
check?
documents sometimes, because they're like out of whack.
Big guy. You good?
I'm good, I'm ready to read that.
Yeah. Go ahead, Randy.
You good? Okay, so welcome everyone to the 2023 Permanent Appropriations presentation. Want to thank the commissioners, Jerry, Christie, all the department heads, and other elected officials that contributed to putting this budget together. It was definitely a group effort. Thanks to the auditor's office too, and Ron Lady, and everybody, so I definitely appreciate that. So without further ado, hopefully I'm not going to take too much of your time, so we'll go ahead and get started. This is going to be a familiar format to people that have been here in the past, so obviously the budget process begins for us in August for the permanent appropriations. Following the tax budget submission, the Budget Commission certifies the 2023 revenues by fund, and appropriations by fund cannot exceed the certified resources for that fund. So whatever we show as an unencumbered balance becomes the beginning balance of the next year, together with those revenues becomes our total resources, and the county commissioners then appropriate those funds to the county departments, and the total amount, as I said, cannot exceed the total amount of those resources. So for next year, these are what those numbers were. The minimum estimated carryover balance based on the unencumbered tax budget balance was $3,104,201. It's going to be considerably more than that, but that's because of the unused appropriations that end up going back into the balance of the fund. So our 2023 revenues for next year right now are estimated at $36,412,925 for total resources of $39,517,126. This is how that revenue looks broken down. The 2023 general fund revenue is estimated at $36.4 million. A majority, $17 million, almost 46.7% of the revenue is estimated to come from sales tax. This is the 1% county portion of the 6.75 sales tax paid in Geauga County. The state of Ohio charges the other 5.75. Average rates in Ohio are 7.22. Ohio law allows counties the option up to 2.25%. There are only 4 out of the 88 counties in the state with a lower sales tax rate than Geauga County. That's at 6.5%, and that's Lorain, Wayne, Stark, and Butler. There are no counties lower than 6.5. Geauga shares our rate with about 14 other counties. 51 counties have a rate of 7.25%, including Lake County, just to the north of us. There are now 7 counties in the state above the 7.25% rate, including Cuyahoga, Franklin, Hamilton, Lucas, Coshocton, Mahoning, and Montgomery County. And only one of those counties is at the maximum rate of 8%, and that's Cuyahoga County, just to our west. Which this is kind of a benefit, as we were talking about, we get a lot of people that come to our county in order to save some sales tax dollars. So, yep. Other than vehicles, because vehicles is charged by where you live, so. Just under a quarter, or 8.8 million, about 24.23% of the revenue is coming from the 2.5 mils county general fund portion of the real estate taxes paid. Department fees and fines are estimated about 7.46 or 2.7 million for 2023. This includes fees that are charged by the auditor, building department, courts, recorder, treasurer, board of elections for services that they provide to residents. The property transfer tax is 6.87 or 2.5 million. These are the fees paid when a property transfers to a new owner.
How much was that again?
2.5 million for the property transfer tax. I believe we could exceed that this year, still, so I have another half a month to go or so. Other is 1.5 million, or a little over 4% of the budgeted revenue for next year. It's made up of several items, including rents, gas well proceeds, insurance and other reimbursements, miscellaneous grants, and county auction proceeds. The casino tax is a tax on the gross earnings of the casino. 51% of that tax is set aside for counties, and the amount received is allocated to the counties based on population. For 2023, we estimate that amount at about $1 million. Local government tax is a revenue sharing tax that comes back to the counties from the state. Prisoner housing is revenue generated from housing inmates at the county jail from other areas. This has decreased quite a bit over the last couple years. Matter of fact, in the November financial flash report that I sent to the commissioners, we are down about $1.5 million in prisoner housing revenue from the high that we experienced back in 2018. Cost allocation is a charge back. Cost allocation is a charge back to county departments outside of the general fund for services provided to them by the general fund. Interest income is remaining at $600,000 for 2023, although recent increases in interest rates have brought in quite a bit more than this. Interest income has been down over the past several years as the Fed tried to keep rates low. With inflation pressures weighing down on the economy, though, the Fed has begun raising rates, and our Star Ohio account has been slowly creeping up into the 3% range. So that's the way the revenue looks broken down for the county in the general fund. So total 2023 appropriations, these are the expenses for all funds, is $127,872,944. I will get that right eventually. This is up probably about 1.8 million over last year. Total appropriations in the general fund is $39,452,344. We do have general fund line item requests over 43 million, and I'll get to some of those delayed funding items a little bit later in the presentation. The total tax budget for 2023, as I stated, is $128 million. This includes the 39.5 for the general fund. Special revenue funds are 65.7 million. Debt service funds are 3.2 million. Capital project funds are 5.7 million. Enterprise funds are 10.3 million. Fiduciary funds are 2.5, and internal service funds are 1 million. Oops. Sorry. Wrong button. The general fund permanent appropriations, as I stated, are submitted at 39.5 million. The requests from departments were a little over 43.5. The largest items waiting for funding include 50,000 juvenile probate court requests for community outreach appropriations, 1.2 million for the sheriff for replacement vehicles, 911 and 800 megahertz funding, about 1.16 from ADP for salary and benefits for vacant positions.
How much was that?
1.16. That's for salary and benefits for vacant positions, as well as replacement equipment and contract services, which were the items that we
How much was the
waited
sheriff
on
again?
for the tax. That the total for them, not just for cars, was 1.2 million, and that was for replacement vehicles, the 911 funding that they want, and the 800 megahertz for the replacement of the radios. Some of these I'm hoping that we actually still get handled this year.
There's 2.4 million just in those two.
Yeah. So 700,000 for commissioners to get our contingency balance up, and also for operating transfers. 834,000 for Board of Elections, salary and benefits accounts, as well as additional contract services and equipment. Obviously, that was the fire suppression system that they were desiring to have installed in the building. About 200,000 for maintenance for equipment, which includes some vehicles, tractors, and mowers. Some increases in expensive requests were granted.
So total supplemental
requests, or about how much?
Well, it'd be roughly,
Or the difference between the?
roughly about 4 million.
Okay.
So 2023 permanent appropriations, this is operating expenses by category. The pie chart shows the numbers here are net of the commissioner's transfer out accounts, which total about 4.4 million, and that supports various departments outside the general fund, including the 911 and 800 megahertz communications I mentioned earlier, core technology, debt service, capital transfers, grant matches, etc. I keep hitting the wrong button, sorry. The chart shows the split of the general fund spending, less those operating transfers. 38.2 of the budget goes to public safety, which is the sheriff, coroner, and the building department. 35.2 of the budget goes to legislative and executive, which is the other elected officials, including auditor, treasurer, prosecutor, commissioners, recorder, as well as board of elections, ADP board, planning and maintenance. Judicial makes up about 17.3% of the budget, includes the court and the public defender. The remaining categories are small, include conservation, recreation, which is our OSU extension, and soil and water, which is 1.3% of the budget. Human services is the Veteran Services Commission, which is 1.9% of the budget. Health is the Bureau of Children with Medical Handicaps requirement that the county fund 0.1 mil to treat handicapped children in the county. Major miscellaneous items include the Portage Jog and Joint Juvenile Detention Center at about $463,000, Youth Center funding at about $416,000, annual insurance liability at about $375,000, postage at $180,000, legal fees including appointed counsel at about $170,000, and the Court of Appeals county share at about $60,000. So here's what initially at least we're looking at for the 2023 permanent appropriations supplemental process if this scenario is accurate. So as you see, the estimated 1/1/23 cash balance I have right now at about $13.5 million. This is higher than we originally anticipated. Some recent revenue certifications that were denied by the Budget Commission that is going to make this balance higher than what we had intended it to be. We're estimating our carryover encumbrances at about 1.75 million, leaving about 11.75 million as the net resources available as certified by the Budget Commission. The certified revenue for 2023 is the 36.4 million, less appropriations of 39 million, leaving about 8.7 for unfunded requests, as well as supplementing contingency, capital, and debt retirement transfers out accounts.
So is that number after the debt retirement amount
that includes all of that?
Includes that.
Right, so all the things, like the $3+ million that we were looking to try and transfer at the end of this year, that gets included in that pending general fund request.
Okay. I mean, my thinking would be to continue to put money towards that debt retirement fund, obviously, so you have the ability or
either
the
pay
ability
it off
to
early
pay it off early
or refinance it.
I mean, I don't know, we probably, I mean, the way we have this project, for example, now we have another project coming, but this project is finance very, I don't know how much lower we could get, but in a business scenario, you want to have that cash available to pay it down early if you have, so.
Yeah, even though the rates were really good, I mean, if you think about it, over the time frame of the bonds, we're going to pay about $5 million in interest.
Okay.
So I'm sure the residents of the county would, if we can save, however much of that $5 million, I'm sure they'll be.
Absolutely. And then as far as the next phase, coming up on the courthouse and getting that project off the ground, I mean, obviously, we don't know yet where we're at with that, but, putting money towards that future, correct? I mean, I would imagine, I don't know what the I don't know if we've gotten any firm numbers yet, probably not, right, but some estimates coming. But, you know, being able to be quick with those payments as well, too, not stringing that along.
Yeah, so we have the, we have the 10 million from the ARPA funds that we're planning on moving
Right.
over. And then I have already transferred 3 million into that last year. This year, I'm gonna put another 3 million. So that'll get us up to about 16 million, which will cover us for the minimum 15 million that we have to spend. But obviously, it's gonna be a little bit more than that. How much more, we don't know yet. So
Depending, yeah,
I'm just trying to save as much as I can, so we don't need to borrow money.
that's right. So, you know, the theory is not to go out and spend it all. You know, you still gotta keep a nice nest egg.
Right.
Right.
For stuff like that,
We don't know. This county.
yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, so as much as you can save when there's lean months, you have that to draw on if you need to.
Right,
So like a rainy day fund.
okay.
Okay, so pending requests for funding, we're looking at that 1.16 for ADP. Commissioners, you're looking at about 1.5. Board of Elections was 834,000. That 50,000 for juvenile probate court. Maintenance 200,000. The sheriff, the 1.15. Capital transfers 2 million. Debt retirement 1.5. Leaves us a total of 8.4.
You know, also, I just got to remind me, I know there's some negotiations still going on with salaries and whatnot, like water resources, for example, the sheriff's contracts are going to be coming up negotiated. There's some pretty hefty percentage increases being floated around on top of the increases we've given to try and catch up with today's, hiring difficulties and whatnot.
So there's a lot of variables.
Here's a ton, and these, every time we change, go up, 3%, some of them 5%, I've heard even higher, that are being requested. I mean, we have to be super mindful of those increases when it comes to these, also the supplemental.
Right. The pending requests.
The pending
for funding, yeah.
requests. Because those aren't really included in here, are they? Like as a supplemental or potential
These
your
are-
exposure to those?
These are based primarily on the budgets that the department submitted at tax budget time in the spring.
Okay.
And then any adjustments that were reflected by the budget hearings that we had with everybody. So
But we all
if they
know.
didn't, if they didn't budget for, those
Mhm.
wage increases, that were being considered for their unions or what have you, then they would need to either work with us if they're in the general fund or be able to fund that themselves, within, their resources.
Like for 2023, I know you can't really budget beyond that, but you know what your exposure is gonna be, potentially.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah.
So when the sheriff is going through and, considering various things for the union, someone should be looking at, what the numbers are
Right.
and how that's gonna affect them in the long run.
Okay.
Okay, so just looking forward then here, the general fund, as has been mentioned, will be continuing to work to shorten the length of the time that we're carrying debt from this building. And the general fund is going to try to avoid the issuance of any additional debt to tackle any of the upcoming projects that we have. So we're aggressively trying to save money in order to do both of those things. And additional, as is the case with a lot of employers, staffing challenges are still out there. There are a couple of departments that, if the one person in the office has a doctor's appointment or isn't able to come in or they're sick or what have you, there's really nobody to pick up the slack. So we're looking to try and tackle some of these things to increase our staff to at least a minimum level. Assessment, rehabilitation of some of the old buildings that we're vacating, and also sale of those old buildings and property. And that pretty much concludes this presentation. Are there any questions for anybody? Yes.
Will the presentation be available on the website, or can,
If you give me your email, I'd be happy to email it to you,
oh, okay.
a PDF version of it, sure. Yes.
Yes, we would be grateful for that as well. What
Okay.
information do you need from me?
Just,
Email?
yeah, if you send me an email, that would be great. Yeah. I don't have my email up there. I can give it out if you want to write it down.
Sure.
Do a good job, Adrian.
Yeah, thank you, Adrian.
So the email is A Gorton, Gorton, at co.geauga.oh.us.
Thank you.
No, you have to work on that. Does it have to be 25?
I want to give her one more piece of information over there. Okay?
Thank you, Adrian.
Thank you all.
Good job.
Good job, Adrian, thank you, and, thanks for all your commitment, that's really good.
I appreciate all the help that I get, so.
You do a good job.
Do a good job, and
Keeping us educated.
And I'll tell you, residents are, in this county are fortunate to have the financial situation that we've got, because a lot of counties can't say what we're saying.
Yeah, you just hope that it continues, but you gotta see that there are warning signs out there that.
Oh, yeah, yep, totally agree, thank you.
Yep.
We have a motion to request.
I'll make that motion.
Okay.
Second?
Commissioner Spudler.
Aye.
Commissioner Lennon.
Yes.
Commissioner DeWart.
Yes.
Thank you.
And yes, there is a planning commission meeting